So what are your feelings on the whole media ban for Trump? Social media ban for Trump. Where do
I
you
think
stand on it?
I tweeted too little, too late, man. I think this happened a long time ago. Listen,
Mm-hmm.
Twitter's a private. I understand the concerns with it, and I think this is where you're going to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, you are somebody. It's a private company. It has nothing to do with your First Amendment rights. And if you're eliciting violence or inciting violence, like he was, I think a private company like Twitter or a platform has the right to kick you off their platform. Period.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he's giving like these weird opinions or these non-PC opinions or unpopular opinions. Like, no, this man is literally eliciting a coup. Like, this is the most serious thing you could do against the federal government. And I think it's perfectly reasonable for a company to be like, okay, yeah, this is enough. We're taking you off. I think honestly, I think it's a little too late.
I would be willing to be with you if I felt like if I trusted social media companies and I trusted multinational corporations to be conservative in their use of this. I don't.
So you think
And
they're gonna start
I
overreaching?
think I think with anything there's potential to overreach. And I think that once you start and look, I'm not questioning again, Trump did what he did. There's no debate about it. I'm not defending Trump. I'm not. But to me, this is a very slippery slope and a Pandora's box that you're now engaging in and opening and willing to go down in because now, yeah, we're all gun ho and happy because Trump. But what happens when it's a leftist
Well,
that's maybe saying some things that
if
is
it's a
not
if it's a leftist that's inciting
no, I'm not
coup,
saying inciting violence. Like, and look, I don't want to go there. Like, obviously, look, inciting. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that like now they've done this. Now Twitter, Facebook, these companies have shown that they are willing to do this now.
it's a precedent.
They're willing to go. That's a precedent. We talked about presidents early. Like now, that's a precedent that sticks. Like now, when you wield that, that's like a nuclear code in some regards, right?
But
Like if you're
how high was that bar though? Do you get what I'm saying? It's not that they banned him for just
true,
saying a curse word. That bar, he had to literally
but
incite
the
a
first,
coup for them to kick him
but the
off.
first time you do it,
Yeah,
right? Like the first
yeah.
time you do it is always going to take a lot to get to that point, right?
But
The
now,
next
don't you figure
time,
they have to reach that bar again, like, or are you
no,
just afraid they're going
no,
to lower?
like
You're afraid they're going to lower
I
that bar.
I view this as the Patriot Act, right? Like 9/11 was the ultimate, like, oh my God, like we have to sanction federal surveillance on our people. And once you open that box of like, okay, we had a catastrophic event, a terrorist attack on American soil happen. And this is like, and I think that all of us at the time, I was 14 at the time, so obviously I didn't have a vote or a say. But, at the time, I think most people said, yeah, it's a necessary evil. Look what that brought. Look what that what has happened now with the Patriot Act and surveillance and all the overreach from a government perspective on our privacy. What has that done now? Like once you go down that slippery slope, once you open that Pandora's box, like it's hard to now like say, oh yeah, we're not going to do that anymore. Or oh, now it's hard to say like, oh,
Okay.
now we're not going to justify doing this. And again, I
But
say this,
see, but you're talking about the federal government. Twitter's a private company.
but even Twitter, like Twitter bans people for stupider shit. Like to say that like they've never kicked anybody off their platform or
It's false.
never, it's false. Like they've
Yeah.
done this shit before. Like I tweet something, like I think I said something like I got suspended off Twitter for like 2 weeks for telling somebody go kill yourself, like in a joke, like oh go kill yourself. That was like a stupid take.
Hmm.
That vile, like even that, like so, like if they can't suspend, like so this, let's not act like this is something that they've never done or aren't willing to do, right?
Okay.
So my thing is like what happens when we have our version of Trump? Again, not the whole inciting violence and racism stuff, but like you may be saying some shit that might challenge social media companies or might challenge some corporations and their views on stuff.
See,
How
but
much easier is it? And I'm not even saying like, oh, just, deplatforming somebody, but maybe changing the algorithm so you don't see these things as much, or you don't see this person's tweets, or see these people's impact on stuff. To me, it's just a slippery slope, and I'm not sure I'm comfortable with that overreach, man. I'm just not.
I get it, but you mean you have to realize that for 4 years, Trump was talking shit about Twitter and social media,
But
and
but the problem is, and the other thing about it is, like, I just can't take the hypocrisy of it all. Like networks now are saying they don't want to show Trump when all of these networks were complicit in the rise of Trump. Like MSNBC has the gall to sit here and call for Trump to be deplatformed or Trump to not
Yeah, they
air
all
Trump's
bandwagon.
things.
It just takes one thing to bandwagon.
But it's like this is the thing, right? Like if you people say I'm overly cynical, but it's like I don't like bullshit. Don't bullshit me. Like I know the game. Like
Right.
Trump is a ratings bonanza.
Right. He
He
helped.
just is. He's helped these networks. Like cable news was dying 4 years ago.
Yeah, they love him.
Dying. They
Yeah.
loved him.
They love him.
And cable news, watch, now that he's out of office and now it's back to Sleepy Joe
Yeah.
and normal politics,
They'll be talking about Trump.
they'll fabricate stories to talk
Trump
about
is Trump is that asshole in high school that all the girls, and by girls I mean like media companies, like hate, talk shit about him, but at the end of the day they have the biggest crush on him. And
Exactly.
that's what he is.
The fact that CNN and all these companies, they had no problem. They contributed to his rise. They contributed to his rise. They are just as much culpable as Facebook and Twitter and Fox News. They all have blood on their hands. They all have blood on their hands because they contributed. Sure, I don't think they ever saw this happening, but they helped. They helped. They had no problems showing his rallies because, again, they were ratings bonanzas, covering him 24/7. Like the effect that Trump has had on news. Like I've read this article a couple weeks ago. Like these networks are literally fearing what a post-Trump presidency looks like from a rating standpoint. Like late night TV has had a resurgence because all they do, like literally Trump jokes write themselves.
Right.
Like literally, just they write themselves. Like now, what the fuck is a James Corden going to talk about?
Right.
Now that Trump's out of office, what jokes can he make? I mean, of course, there's jokes to be made, but like it's not the same. So like, here's the thing: like I feel like it's really rich for these companies to now all of a sudden say we're going to deplatform this guy when all of you have contributed to what happened on Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean that's what I said. It's too little, too late. That's like I'm not happy that they did. I'm not jumping for joy that.
No,
Trump
there's a
did
lot
that.
of people that are jumping for
Yeah. I'm not one of those.
Like,
I'm not one of
first of
those
all-
people. I'm not one of those people. Like I'm one of those people that was like, oh, now you want to fucking do it? Okay, fine. But I also think that in the sense in which they did it, you know, it had to be after he's been inciting riots and a coup of the freaking
Right.
U.S. Capitol.
Right.
So for me, that bar is so freaking high that I'm not worried about, you know, random leftist politician in 2024 who wants to decide to challenge this media of getting banned himself, because Trump, before even all of that, was doing shit that he could have gotten banned for before.
Right.
I just think, I think a lot of it has to do with that. He's not the president anymore. You know, the coup happened. He's going to be out of office. It's almost like, okay, now it's over. We can do what we always wanted to do. I understand the slippery slope argument. I think your fears are valid. I'm just not as scared because I feel like that the president that they sent, that they set is so freaking high that I can't see them doing that to another politician unless they incite another riot or another coup or continuously do so. Now, I do know that they ban other people, like what you just said. You got banned for that, or suspended, which is crazy. I know a bunch of like Twitch people with content that they have or tweets that they have gotten banned, but that's nothing new with Twitter. Twitter's a private company, man. They're allowed to do that. You know what I mean? It's so crazy.
I get
it. And I don't put you in this company, so I'm not talking to about you with this, but it's so hilarious to me that Republicans and conservatives are so about privatization and the free market, but when it comes and bites them in the ass, they're the first ones to cry and complain about it. You know what I mean? Like, this is what it is. This is the free market working. This is private companies, like everything you guys want to be, and now you're being thrown off of it, and you want to claim, oh, this is Orwellian 1984. Go fuck yourself. This is exactly the world
absolutely.
you want to live in.
No, yeah,
So.
I know. No, I look. Your lips to God's ears, man. I hope you're right. Like, I hope that this.
I understand your concerns, though. I don't want to brush off.
I just want people to actually look at this and say, like, yo, this.
It could lead to something.
This is a thing. Like, this could lead to something, and that's what I don't want it to be.
But it's a private company, though. It's not like you're getting arrested for anything. It's not like you're getting
social media companies wield a lot of power, especially for like. I don't think it's gonna. And that's the other thing. Like, do you think that Trump can't still get out his message even after he's out of office? Like, he's probably gonna buy Newsmax or one of these other fucking organizations and basically start Trump TV. So that right there, Fox News is still gonna cover him. And look, CNN and MSNBC, they're fucking applauding and giving Trump. Like, let's say Trump, they don't talk about Trump for 6 covering Trump going to Starbucks to get a coffee by Easter. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. You know I'm not. You know I'm right. You work for a major media company. You know I'm right. Like they're gonna find any reason to cover this.
Oh
So
man.
like so they could say all that shit now. First of all, Trump's still gonna go out and get his message. Like the idea that Trump, but see, Trump is already this major political. I mean, obviously he's had the presidency. He's known, but like a Josh Rodriguez, a leftist politician who's trying to primary Nancy Pelosi, and it's got some really strong views on her record on war and her
Yeah.
record on healthcare.
I don't think
You
I
know,
don't think he doesn't get banned. I don't think he gets banned.
Facebook might and he may not get banned. He may not be, but Josh Rodriguez, this example that we're using, the algorithms may change, and maybe other left leaning voters or potential voters may not see his tweets.
Well,
May
that's
not
something
see
that's always been a problem, though.
it's
That's
always
that's
been
a
a problem
totally
now,
different problem.
but the problem is that now Twitter and Facebook could before they could say, well, we're not political, we're apolitical, we're not putting our now they have cemented and planted their flag and saying, hey, we can put our fingers on the scale if we want to and if need be.
But
Obviously,
is it
inciting a
politics,
riot.
though? Is it politics at this point?
Absolutely politics.
You
It's
think
absolutely politics.
I don't
You
know.
don't
I,
think
I
it's
get what you're saying.
There's
Being
an
that he's
element of politics.
there's an element of it, but I also think it's more of a this is like humanity. Like this is the angle of which this man has literally incited something that is going to go down in history as one of the darkest days in America. Like this isn't. I get the fact it's inherently political because he's the
Right.
president of the United States of America, but I don't think it's taking a political stance. I think it's taking a stance of human decency.
Yes, but even human decency can also mean a political stance. You
Yeah.
know, it's
I mean
like
that's our whole thing
like
about
it's interconnected though. That's what I'm saying. Like you
can be.
can't
Yeah.
like I hate when people try to be like, oh no. This is you no, like politics and just basic everyday human life are interconnected in a lot of ways. So
Yeah.
you may not think so, and you may not want to be that way, but it is like once
Right.
you put your finger on the scale and said, hey, we have enough power to deplatform somebody. And again, these are not like small things. Like Twitter has what 90 million people
No,
on
it's a
Twitter.
huge platform.
You know, Facebook has 150 million people.
You
like
can
something
argue
like
without Twitter, Trump does not become president. You can make that case.
yes, you can make that argument, right? Like
Yeah.
without social media, without YouTube, without Twitter, we don't see an AOC, we don't see a Jamal Bowman, we don't see a left. Same thing on the right. You know what I mean? Like so like we cannot pretend like this isn't a big thing. Like this is a major thing.
Well, it is a major thing. It's just how big is it major in the sense that hey, the president got kicked off of a social media platform, or is it major in the sense of hey, the president got kicked off the social media platform? That means we could be next, and I'm not sure I'm willing to take it there yet. I'm not.
And look, Josh, I hope you're right. I
Yeah,
hope you're right. I hope.
I understand your concerns. I'm not trying
Mhm.
to wishy-wash your concerns away. I do understand your concerns. I don't see Twitter ever going to that extent where it's just kind of like, oh, I have voiced my opinion on whatever next war we're getting into the Middle East, and now I can't have a Twitter account.
I hope so, man. I hope I'm wrong. I don't want to be right on this. I just said I'm just saying.
We'll revisit
that,
this conversation. In like
yeah,
5
we'll
years.
revisit this shit in 5 years, and we'll see where we're at. I just again and we'll end on this. Like I just for everybody that's celebrating, yes. And look, I am not defending Trump. Trump is a piece of shit for what he did and that the freaking video at 5 o'clock. I mean, it's just I literally just lost my shit because he's like and what he did to Mike Pence. I mean, a dude that has been so fucking loyal. Look, like I get it, Mike Pence is a jackass, but the literally like Mike Pence's life was in danger, and from the reports that you read and hear, he's basically like cheering it on. Like it's just like you killed Mike Pence and his wife, like, all because he wouldn't eradicate election results that constitutionally he has no right to do anyway, which is another.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, do you see the lengths that he had to go to in order to be banned from Twitter? Like, that's my.
I know, man. I know. I'm just saying that. I don't know. To me, it's just it's about precedent, and it's like they've already set the precedent, and now it's like
you rather there be no precedent. Then is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.